Are hybrid projects? Well, this is a question that has been trying to be answered for several years. But this question has in fact actually been answered a long time ago. The difference is that it has taken more time to put it into theory than into practice. In other words, this has already been put into practice, and after some time, the theory or the question has been put on paper. It has been shared, and well, there are several organizations. The main one from the point of view, of course, is PMI, which I have put in context, and they have shared it, and let's say they have reflected on it for the people. But this, more than anything else, let's say that the answer was already there before the question.
Before we move on, smash that like button, and if you find it interesting, share it with your professional network. This lets me know that you appreciate my work of sharing experiences and knowledge. Thank you. If you're not subscribed yet, hit that bell so you don't miss the upcoming videos I'll be sharing throughout 2025.
In definition, what are hybrid projects? Well, we can define them as those projects that combine elements from both worlds, which are traditional, predictive methods, and adaptive products in one way or another. Although it is true that it is not very clear at what moment or in what percentages this occurs, they focus on it as a combination that allows for greater flexibility and adaptability in planning, execution, and of course, delivery. Well, this is something that could lead to much more, right? Much, much more. But we will try here in this capsule to solve it together, propose it. And we will discuss whether what is being promoted is real or not, how it is executed, and of course, a real-life example. So, projects are truly promoted by organizations and professionals in the field who seek to maximize the efficiency and effectiveness of their overall portfolio within their processes. Yes, I mean, look, right now I have a project or I need to deploy a platform. I have to implement a platform. I have to deliver a very specific product, and for that I have to carry out an entire project. If we are talking about engineering, construction, mining, etc., yes. So keep in mind, we are not only talking about IT, about information, topics. Therefore, it is not clarified much that it has to be just a predictive project or just an adaptive product. There are organizations that call Agile projects, well, I know that a project is a project for life. You can take elements from Agile frameworks and methods to enhance it, but it is still a project for life, or a product that, even in its inception, in its concepts, under Agile frameworks and methods, can rely on projects. That's why for Autotem, they are hybrid products. We will discuss that on another occasion. So for example, the main characteristics are their flexibility, because it is a project that will set up a telecommunications infrastructure network, a project that we can adapt, supported by topics like frameworks and Agile methods. For example, iteration and planning. It may be that we deliver a project, yes. We can talk about a minimum viable product, correct? If it is software development or something similar, a software product. But what is more than an implementation of an ERP, for example? Okay, so yes, you can deliver a base version, but then you have to close the entire project because there are many parts involved, where it can be a planning for different deliveries, different countries, etc. It's not just one. Yes, therefore there is medium or long-term planning, 3, 6, 12 months. Okay, no. because it has a beginning and an end. You will implement an ERP in a country. You start at such a point and finish at such a point. A point that will later have improvements, correct, as it is part of the application's maintenance, not specifically of the project. Yes, adaptability, of course. Let's continue with the example of the ERP. Being adaptable, we can use it as a foundation, as lessons learned to implement it in another country. If we talk about a platform that is in Spanish here in Spain, and then we have to replicate it in Latin America, we have made a lot of progress. It can be implemented and adapted in Mexico. Evidently, that is where the Mexican peso is. We can go to Peru with Peruvian soles. It's another type of currency, another type of legislation. But let's say that the entire shell or core of the ERP is already ready for implementation. It can be a project lasting 6 months, a year in a large corporation, and it delivers its minimum viable product. That's why it is hybrid. Deliver that minimum viable product according to the connotations that the end user, the C-level, or the PMO sponsor wants, if this is a strategic project. Therefore, they already have it. How can it be, Leonardo, that there is a minimum viable product in each different country? Well, it's very simple. In an ERP, for example, they want to install the corporate colors of the country. In Mexico, it's red and white, and in Peru, only red, or in Uruguay, only blue, or in Colombia, yellow. They can adapt it, customize the application with that minimum viable product that already exists, but with the corporate colors. Moreover, aside from the issue of currency, each currency is different. So with that, you can then customize throughout the project to make it more suitable. If it is a project, you can make deliveries during what is famously known as sprints and releases within that time frame where they say, hey, in Mexico, we need to start in January and finish in October, start and end point. In other cases, it might be September of one year and August of the next, for example, which also has a start and end, and that is a project with a start and end. These are characteristics that everyone in this profession knows, but with that customization, that minimum viable product, those releases, sprints, and releases will come into play. It is a combination with agile approaches, of course, and collaboration and communication need to be a bit more fluid. When you create the product, the viable product, and then you start doing the sprints, you need to communicate it, and then the release might need to be done more quickly. It's not until the project is finished that you release the version. Instead, you create faster versions and deliver more quickly. You need to have more communication and collaboration than usual. The approach with the client, who is the internal client, is of course a vision for them to see that this is how they need it. If the risk and control are minimized, it is because there are some things that are not clear. For example, in legislation that needs to be refined regarding taxes. For instance, VAT is not the same in some countries as in others, but that tax issue, or if we have any type of interface with other systems, that is another sub-project of the strategic RP project. We need to discuss, open another area. To work with them, it could be another independent project which may not even be related to Agile topics, right? And of course, it is about the efficiency of all resources, which should be the case for anyone, but it is important because if we have this with another global portfolio, then we need to be more efficient from our PMO regarding comprehensive resource management, remembering that we are talking about technical, technological, financial resources and people. Why? Because if it is a turnkey project, that is, in Mexico it will cost 100,000, in Peru 85,000, in Spain 125,000, etc. It is already known how much it will cost. When does it start? How much is financed? And what is the cost? In terms of agile approaches or products, there is none of that. It's different. We will discuss it later. Therefore, as a conclusion, this is what happens in day-to-day life in reality. This is an example. We can understand it as a hybrid project where both approaches, both worlds are collaborating. The difference is that it comes more from a perspective or starts as a project, but it has more topics or some additional phases as a product with a more agile focus in some phases or some form of work.